Class 7. Today I will start a new chapter, Atmosphere. In this chapter, we would like to discuss about the composition of the atmosphere, about the structure of the atmosphere, about the 5 layers of the atmosphere in details, and at the last, we will discuss about the significance of the atmosphere. So, before we discuss all this, we should know what is atmosphere. Atmosphere is nothing but the blanket of air that surrounds the earth. And this atmosphere is the only domain of the earth that is invisible to us, and it is vital for the existence of life on our planet. The atmosphere is held around the earth due to earth gravitational pull. So earth creates a gravitational pull which help or held the atmosphere around the earth. So in the condition of the atmosphere at a particular place determine what type of weather and climate it has. So weather and climate together determine atmosphere. So changes in the condition bring about changes in the weather and climate. So weather and climate is nothing but the changes in the atmospheric condition which results in the change in temperature, pressure and humidity. This changes of weather and climate affects our life. So we'd like to discuss the atmosphere. The term of the atmosphere is derived from the Greek word atoms, meaning vapor, and sphaira means sphere. So atmosphere look like sphere which contain atom. The atmosphere is held in place by the gravitational pull of the earth. So the gravitational pull of the earth held the atmosphere, creates the atmospheric condition in a particular place. The density is highest near the surface of the earth and goes on decreasing with the height. So as we move upward, the density goes downward. The atmosphere extends up to a height of 1600 kilometer above the mean sea level. So the extension, the height of the atmosphere is 1600 kilometer. So we are moving forward with the next topic, composition of the atmosphere. So, in this topic, we would like to discuss or we would like to know the composition. What mixture of gases are there in the atmosphere? So, atmosphere mainly consists of water vapor, dust particle, pollen grain, and many impurities like smoke, salt, and other chemicals which are present in various quantities in the atmosphere. The main constituents of the gas are nitrogen, which is nearly 78%, oxygen 21%, and the remaining 1% is made of gases like carbon dioxide, argon, hydrogen, helium, ozone. So, air is a mixture of gases like nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. In air, this mixture of gases are there in various quantity. Nitrogen makes up the bulk of the air. Nitrogen is a maximum quantity, constituting 70% of the air volume. Oxygen constitute 21% of the air volume, as I already discussed. Other gases such as carbon dioxide, argon, helium, ozone, hydrogen, etc. make up just one of the total volume of the air. Nitrogen helps in the growth of living organism, which is very essential for the growth of crops. They got nitrogen from the bacteria that live in soil and their roots. So nitrogen can be held from the living organism. This bacteria convert atmospheric nitrogen into a form that plants can use. So plants use nitrogen for their growth. Next, we would like to discuss oxygen. What is the importance of oxygen in the atmosphere? The second most abundant atmospheric gas is oxygen, which is very much essential in order to breathe, in order to live our life. Humans and animals take in oxygen from the air they breathe. So, humans and animals take in oxygen from the air. The atmosphere is very essential in order to give oxygen. Green plants release oxygen into the air. during photosynthesis, you know very well, photosynthesis is the making of food by a green plant. Oxygen is constantly being used up by humans. So humans use oxygen for their growth purpose, and animals and replenished by plants. So plants give us oxygen and we provide carbon dioxide to plants. Next, we would like to discuss carbon dioxide, which traps heat from the sun and keeps the earth warm enough to sustain life. In order to sustain our life in the earth, we need to have carbon dioxide, which is very much important. Why it is very much important? Because it traps heat from the sun and keeps earth warm. Earth should be warm in order to sustain life. It is a gas that green plant use to make food. So carbon dioxide is essential for the plant. And without plant, we cannot get oxygen. And release oxygen in the presence of sunlight. Plants take in carbon dioxide, as I have already discussed, and convert it into starch by the process of photosynthesis. While plants absorb the gas, humans and animals release carbon dioxide into the air when they breathe. Therefore, the amount of this gas in air also remains nearly constant. So, it is in an equilibrium way that how much oxygen and carbon dioxide is to be there in the earth. Next, the very important topic is ozone. This topic is very important because ozone is nothing but an important gas, and this gas protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays, that is called UV rays of the sun. Beside gases, air also contain water vapor and dust particles, which is not able to see by our eyes. The amount of water vapor and dust particles in the air varies with time and place. It totally depends upon the moisture, humidity, and evaporation process. Water vapor plays an important role in determining the weather condition. Weather condition is nothing but temperature and climatic condition. There would be no rainfall or snowfall in the absence of water vapor. So without water vapor, it is not possible to form clouds, and without clouds, it is not possible to precipitate. So water vapor is very much important in order to get rainfall. Dust particles help condense water vapor into water droplet to form cloud, which eventually cause rainfall. As I've already told you, dust particles helps the water vapor to condense into water droplets so that they form clouds and eventually come into the earth in the form of rainfall. Okay, so and the maximum density of the atmosphere is near the Earth's surface. You should remember. The air becomes increasingly rarefied as we move further from the surface to the pole. The upper layer of the atmosphere rests upon the lower layer and constantly exert pressure. So pressure is all around, and the upper layer always exert pressure on the lower layer. Thus, about 50% of the total mass of the atmosphere lies within a height of 6 kilometers from the Earth's surface. Next, we are moving forward with the structure of the atmosphere. Very important for the exam purpose. In this topic, you should learn various things like what is troposphere, what is the characteristics features of the troposphere, how troposphere is essential, and how this layer helps the life on the earth. You should know all these things, and you should also draw the diagram. The diagram portion is very important, the 5 layers of the atmosphere, which may come in exam. So the atmosphere is divided into 5 layers based on composition, temperature, and other properties. So on this three factors, the atmosphere is divided into 5 layers. Without any factors, it is not possible to divide the structure, to divide the composition. So we always try to take the factors, which is very much essential, which will create a result. So the various factors which are very essential for the atmospheric conditional growth is composition of the atmosphere, the temperature in a particular place, and other properties of various gases. Starting from the surface of the earth, the layers are called troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. So I'd like to discuss these 5 layers in great detail, and this is very much essential for your exam purpose to know every structure in detail. So troposphere. Troposphere is mainly the lowest layer of the atmosphere. Next, it extends to a height of about 8 kilometers at the pole and about 18 kilometers at the equator. So the extension is higher at the equator. It is the densest part of the atmosphere. Dust particles, water vapor, and other impurities are found in this layer. All weather phenomena such as clouds, fog, rainfall, snowfall, storms, etc. can be occur in this layer. The temperature of air decreases with increase in the height. So the temperature used to be decreased when we move upward. You know very well in your lower classes, you have read that this is normal lapse rate in which the temperature decreases when we move upward or when we increase our height at a rate of 1 degree centigrade for every 165 meter. So, troposphere is the lowest and the densest layer of the atmosphere. And as it is the densest layer of the atmosphere, it absorbs maximum heat radiated by the Earth's surface and thus keeps the Earth warm, which is very much essential so that we can get the proper sunlight. About three-fourths of the mass of the atmosphere is contained within this layer. The troposphere acts like a blanket, and it also prevents days from becoming very hot and nights from becoming very cold. That means it creates a moderate temperature on this earth. The troposphere gets its name from the Greek word tropos, which means turning. Turning means change. All weather changes that we experience takes place in the troposphere. The upper limit of the troposphere is marked by the tropopause, very important for exam, where the general decrease in temperature with altitude takes place. So as we have already told in the normal lapse rate that the temperature decreases with the increase in the height. So the upper limit of the troposphere is marked by the tropopause. Dust particles, water vapor and other impurities are found in this layer. So I've already discussed this. All weather phenomena also takes place in this layer. Next, we are moving forward with the topic stratosphere. So, this layer lies above the troposphere and extends to a height of about 50 kilometers above the Earth's surface. So, the extension is below the troposphere. Troposphere, then comes stratosphere. So the stratosphere lies above the troposphere, and the tropopause, which I've already told in the troposphere, is nothing else but a narrow boundary that separates the stratosphere from the troposphere. This boundary which creates a gap in between the stratosphere and the troposphere. So in the lower part of the stratosphere, the temperature remains constant. It doesn't changes. In the upper part of this layer, there's a gradual increase in temperature. So in the upper part, we see a change in the temperature, and in the lower part, we doesn't see any temperature change. There are virtually no clouds and very little dust and water vapor in this layer. And it is totally opposed to troposphere. In troposphere, we have seen that water vapor are present. Convection current of air are also absent. So all are sorts of weather phenomena. So all sorts of weather phenomena are absent in the stratosphere. The stratosphere contains a most important ozone, which absorbs the harmful UV rays of the sun. So you can see here, in the lower part of the stratosphere, the temperature remains constant, as I've already discussed. A part of the stratosphere is known as the ozonosphere, very important. A part of the stratosphere is known as the ozonosphere. Why? As it has the maximum concentration of the ozone in the atmosphere. So ozone creates a condition in the stratosphere, which is very much essential to protect us from the UV rays of the sun. Ozone protects us by absorbing the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. There are virtually no clouds and very little dust, as I've already discussed with you. Next, we would like to discuss mesosphere. See, the mesosphere lies above the stratosphere. So first is troposphere, above the troposphere is stratosphere, above the stratosphere is the mesosphere. Now this layer lies above the stratosphere and it extends to a height of about 80 kilometers above the Earth's surface. If you don't remember the figure of the height, don't write the wrong figure, height, but try to remember the height. The narrow boundary that separate the mesosphere from the stratosphere is called stratopause. So the tropopause is a narrow boundary which separates the stratosphere from the troposphere, and stratopause is nothing but a narrow boundary that separates the mesosphere from the stratosphere. So stratopause and tropopause difference is very important for the exam. In the mesosphere, The temperature of the air decreases with increasing height, same as normal lapse rate. When meteors enter the Earth's atmosphere from the space and reach this layer, they burn due to friction in between them. So the mesosphere lies above the stratosphere, as I've already told you. When meteors enter the Earth's atmosphere from the space and reach this layer, they burn due to friction. Meteors burn up in the mesosphere. Very important. For mesosphere purpose, this is the characteristics features you should learn for the exam. Next is thermosphere. So thermosphere lies above the mesosphere and it extends up to a height of 450 kilometers. Essentially, is much more in comparison to the other structure of the atmosphere. Here, temperature increases rapidly with increasing height. Same feature in comparison to the other structure or other layer of the atmosphere. The boundary between the thermosphere and the mesosphere is called mesopause. So very important for the exam again. In exam, it may come that what is the difference between tropopause, mesopause, and stratopause. This layer contains electrically charged particles called ion. These particles reflect radio waves back to the Earth's surface and enable us to have wireless communication. So wireless communication is the positive sign we can see from the mesothermosphere, how thermosphere helps the communication purpose. So this is the most important factor. So this layer contains electrically charged particles, which is called iron, and this reflects radio waves back to the Earth's surface and enable us to have a wireless communication. Thermosphere is called ionosphere. Another name of thermosphere is called ionosphere. Why? It is very simple, because of the presence of ions. Okay, next we would like to discuss exosphere, the last layer. The uppermost layer of the atmosphere is called exosphere and lowermost layer is called troposphere. It extends to a height of about 1600 kilometers and gradually merges with interplanetary space. So it creates a merging, it merge the interplanetary space, and it is of height of 1600 kilometers. Very light gases like hydrogen and helium are found in this layer. The temperature in the exosphere is very high. So here we can see that there is no characteristic features, as temperature will decrease with the increase in the height, because the temperature is almost at the extreme point. Next, we would like to discuss the significance or the importance of the atmosphere. It is very important for the exam purpose in long question. So the component of the atmosphere are useful to us, because without atmosphere, without the various factors of temperature, pressure, humidity, it is not possible to maintain a proper equilibrium temperature in the atmosphere. So how the atmosphere help us to sustain ourselves into this earth and try to formulate a relationship between biological and physical component is very important to know. So the composite component of the atmosphere are useful for our daily purpose. Nitrogen is required to maintain the fertility of the soil, which is very much essential for the growth of the crops and for the plants to survive. Next, atmosphere contains oxygen, which all living beings need in order to stay alive. So without oxygen, it is not possible to breathe, and without breath, nobody survive in this world. Carbon dioxide helps plant to produce food in the presence of sunlight. It also keeps the earth's warm by absorbing the heat radiated from the surface. So terrestrial radiation takes place along with the evaporation, and this carbon dioxide is essential for the plant to produce starch in the form of photosynthesis. Ozone protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun, which can be seen in the stratosphere. The water vapor in the atmosphere causes precipitation. Without water vapor, it is not possible to form clouds, and without clouds, it is not possible to rain. And without this rainfall, it is not possible also to maintain a proper water cycle. So the dust particles form the nucleus for condensation, which results in the formation of the clouds that cause rainfall and the snowfall. So without dust particles, it is not possible to form clouds or the resultant factors, the snowfall and the rainfall. Okay. So in your book, it is given in a detail heating of the atmosphere. So we'd like to discuss how this atmosphere get heated. So before we discuss the heating purpose, the main source of heat is sun. The sun is a cheap source of heat, and light for the earth. The sun radiate or send out energy in all direction because it creates a warm temperature. It creates it sends energy which helps the plants and the human beings to survive in this earth, and the earth receives only a small fraction of this energy as the earth is far away from the sun. The solar energy received by the earth is called incoming solar radiation or insolation. Without insolation it is not possible to have terrestrial radiation. So insolation is very much important because through this insolation energy is created in the earth in the form of sun. So the incoming solar radiation first passes through the earth's atmosphere. The air, the clouds, and the dust particles present in the atmosphere reflect a part of the incoming radiation back into the space. So the evaporation and terrestrial radiations takes every now and then. So without evaporation, it is not possible to form terrestrial radiation. And without terrestrial radiation, it is not possible to have rainfall. Half of the incoming radiation reaches the Earth's surface. The Earth's surface is heated by this energy of the sun. The heated surface of the Earth in turn radiates heat. The heated portion, more the earth get heated, the more the earth get heat from the sun, it creates energy, and this energy get distributed in the form of terrestrial radiation. The atmosphere is heated mainly by terrestrial radiation, as I've already told you. The air near the earth's surface gets heated by being in direct contact with the earth's hot surface. This is heating by conduction. Conduction, convection, you have learned in physics also. So conduction is nothing but how the air near the earth surface get heated by being present in the form of sun. So the air near the ground is heated. So when the air get heated, it do? It will expand, becomes lighter. Without light it is not possible to rise above. As it rises it gradually get cooled. The cool air being heavy sink downward. So cool air come downward and hot air move upward. Thus, as warm air rises from the surface, cool air from the above comes down. Why it is necessary? Why is it necessary to come downward? The cool air, because the warm air will go up and it will take the place of cool air, and the cool air will replace the place of warm air. This causes a cyclic movement of the air current near the Earth's surface. This air current transfer heat upward. Such transfer of heat by current is called convection. So convection is nothing but a cyclical movement of air current near the Earth's surface. So this convection and conduction takes place every now and then, and it helps to maintain an equilibrium position in the atmosphere so that we can survive in this earth. Next, see here. Next, we would like to discuss greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect is a very much relevant topic in today's world. So greenhouse effect is the effect which is mainly produced by carbon dioxide and water vapor in the upper atmosphere, which raises the atmospheric temperature by trapping the heat radiated from the Earth's surface. So greenhouse effect is mainly takes place by carbon dioxide and water vapor presence in the atmosphere, and it helps to trap the heat radiated from the Earth's surface. See here, carbon dioxide is called greenhouse gases. You should also remember the gases which are included in the greenhouse gas are methane, chlorofluorocarbon, which is called CFCs, and nitrogen oxide. The amount of greenhouse gases present in the atmosphere has increased. Why it is increased? Because we are just harming ourselves by burning the fossil fuels. This phenomena increases the average temperature on the earth and creates a global warming. So if everybody try to burn the fossil fuel, try to burn the trees and the plants, then it will create a increase in the temperature, and this causes a global warming. The effect of greenhouse gases result in melting of glaciers. So melting, not melting. So see here the effects of greenhouse gases. What are the aftermath effects of these greenhouse gases? how this greenhouse gases affects our life, affects our survival. So this greenhouse gases results in melting of glaciers, which increases the sea level and changes the amount of rainfall and changes the agricultural production too. So greenhouse gases effect is very important and it will create a great effect on our earth. Next, we would like to discuss ozone depletion. As we have already told you, ozone protects the harmful ultraviolet rays to come into the earth, and this ozone in the atmosphere is concentrated. This ozone is concentrated in the ozonosphere. The thickness of this layer of the ozone is not the same all over the world or at all times of the year. The thickness varies according to the temperature and pressure condition. So I've given an example here. In September and October, where it is spring in the southern hemisphere, much of the atmospheric ozone over the south pole is destroyed. So you see here, in the September and October, October, the atmospheric condition is very much fruitful, and there is not much sunlight, and so the atmospheric ozone over the south pole get destroyed, and the ozone layer in these areas become thin. Such a thin patch is called ozone hole, and when anything gets thinner, it creates a hole. Ozone hole forms when the weather conditions are ideal for certain chemical reaction in which compounds such as chlorofluorocarbon release chlorine, which destroys the ozone. So CFC is essential to destroy the ozone. CFCs are man-made. They are present in many kinds of sprays and in cooling agents used in refrigerator and air conditioner. The CFCs are present in various kinds of agents. You should know where it was present. Next, the greenhouse effect increases ozone depletion. So this greenhouse effect increases the ozone depletion. How? It traps heat in the troposphere and does not let it reach the stratosphere. So this makes the stratosphere go cooler, helping more ice clouds to form. So it does this greenhouse effect and this ozone depletion creates an ideal condition in the stratosphere. Ozone depletion allows more of the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays to reach us. These rays can give us sunburn and skin cancer and can damage our eyes. So this ozone depletion is harming ourselves. Next, we would like to discuss global warming. So our earth gets heated up in every now and then, and we are responsible for this global warming. So the chief cause of the global warming is a gradual increase in the greenhouse effect, which is called carbon dioxide, mainly the gases, due to a rising level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere by burning of fossil fuels and various plants. Green plants reduce the amount of carbon dioxide by taking in some of it during photosynthesis. As the human population is growing, we are cutting down more and more trees for wood. We are clearing forests to use the land for building and agriculture to meet our self desire and needs. And our factories emitting more carbon dioxide by reducing the number of stresses. The carbon dioxide is increasing by ourselves. We are increasing carbon dioxide. Global warming causes much of the ice at the pole and on mountains to melt. So this global warming creates various effects. It affects was the most important effect is the melting of the pole, the melting of the ice cap at the pole. This in turn causes the water level of the ocean to rise, and many islands and coastal areas would go underwater. It means the polar region will submerge under the water. Climate and rainfall patterns may changes. So climate and rainfall changes. Many places are having long spells of drought or severe storms and floods at unexpected time. So our climate condition changes with the cutting of the trees, with the increasing of the greenhouse gases, and creates a global warming, creates a global change in the environment. A general rise in temperature may change the seasonal behavior of some plants or animals. So plants, animals, and human beings behave in different way with a rise in temperature in the atmosphere. In some places, flowers are blooming earlier in the year, and birds are laying eggs out of season when the chicks may not have enough to eat. So there creates this global warming creates a seasonal variation, seasonal changes in the not only in the condition of the earth but also in the atmospheric and the characteristics features in the animals, plants, and human being. So the last portion, which is important, that how we should conserve this atmosphere, how we can change the atmosphere into a non-pollutant area where we can survive freely, where we can take the breath easily. We can plant trees as this helps in reducing the global warming. So our earth, we can protect our earth by increasing the planting of trees. We can reuse and recycle things to save the energy used in factories to make things. So we can use and recycle plastics also. We can you recycle the non-material things, which is essential for our factory purpose and for ourselves too. We can avoid buying packaged food and bolted water as this saves the energy needed to make this. So we should avoid the packaged thing, okay, or the bottled water which is made of plastic. We should replace old refrigerator and air conditioner with new one. Why? Which because it will help in reduction of the production of the chlorofluorocarbon. So we can burn lesser fuel by using the carless. We can use less fuel in order to protect our environment. We can use public transport or a carpool. Walking or cycling is even better in order to save the energy. So this is the last portion we have already discussed. Next, I have given various questions from inside the uh, chapter. You should learn the chapter very thoroughly and try to solve the question. If you face any problem, you just call me up. Thank you, class.